Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Paula, and today we have Arianna Pappas with us. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good, really good.
Thank
So,
you so much for having me today.
oh, no worries, no worries. We're so pleased you're here. See, I'm still talking to Weeble, and it's only me here. Weeble. So tell us, the first question, the hardest one ever. Who is Arianna?
Arianna is a Nashville pop country independent artist and writer. I moved here about 4 years ago. I actually just hit my 4-year anniversary of last week, so very exciting.
Mm,
I am originally from New York, Long Island, New York, which is very random, even though I do see more and more New York plates all the time around here. I have loved music since I guess I could remember. And I've been singing for basically since I could talk, from what my parents have told me. I just have this passion for music that I knew I had to make it into a career. So I, only figured out I wanted to come to Nashville, I mean, later, in life than a lot of my peers here.
yeah,
I only discovered Nashville probably in high school, college, when
yeah.
a lot of people had knew that they wanted to be here their whole lives. But yeah, I grew up, listening to a lot of rock music, of course, because that's huge in the Northeast. And later on found pop country, and, also grew up listening to a lot of pop. And I just felt inspired to start writing later on in high school years. And from there, it kind of blossomed into, creating and taking stories from every aspect of my life and making something new out of them. So that was probably a bit long-winded, but hopefully that gives you an idea of
No,
Ariana.
that is perfect. I must admit, we've got a few Robbie Harts from New York as well. There's a few people from New York, and you always do. I never associated New York with country music, but
Exactly.
there's
I
quite a
was
few artists coming out of there.
I can tell you that I was definitely the outlier in high school. I was considered the strange one who, for some reason, found solace in country. But you know what? Whatever floats your boat.
Definitely, definitely. I must admit, I grew up on a lot of sort of heavy rock, and then sort of Queen and all these sort of people. And then my mum was into Patsy Cline, so we had a real contrast.
That's
you know,
awesome. I love
uh,
that.
between music. So now my phone is full of sort of country and rock, and then you've got pop in between and a bit of opera here and there. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's just great, and music's just amazing that way. So yeah.
right.
But so tell us, as I said to you before the interview, when I saw you and then heard your voice, I was just blown away. It wasn't the voice I was expecting. I don't quite know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And your voice is absolutely amazing. And when I heard Daddy's Dying for the first time, I tell you, I was just mesmerized. So tell us about that song and the writing behind it and everything.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I'm very flattered. That's so kind.
No worries.
That's yeah, I really love, just I appreciate hearing that. But it's a song that I wrote, I want to say 2 years ago now. It was inspired by people I had seen who tend to flaunt their money, and that's not something that I'm really a fan of. So it's just a little dig. It's saying basically, get off your high horse. You're not cooler than anybody else in the room. And this was a solo write. I sat down after a conversation with somebody where I was really frustrated, and I just wrote out my feelings, and I took it and made it into a roast. I love to write roasts, which may sound a bit harsh, but it's really therapeutic to be able to take your frustrations and put them into songs, whatever you're angry about, or, obviously any emotion, but it's really especially helpful to take those kinds of moments when you're just pissed at somebody and to put it into a song that's like, okay, you're not gonna do that to me. You're not gonna, I'm gonna knock you down a couple notches. So that was definitely, I knew I wanted to one day cut it. I didn't know how I was gonna do that or when I was gonna release it, of course, but I knew that it was a song that I wanted to put out into the world one day. So I recorded it earlier this year in March with my producer, Zach Raymano, who did an excellent job on the track. And it was just a really fun process, honestly. We, laid down the instrumentals, which, you'll hear some classic rock elements in the electric guitar and the bass, and it came out so beautifully. And we recorded vocals probably in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I want to say, max. And it was just such an exciting time. Anytime you get to record, I love getting in the studio and creating, something that people hopefully have never heard before, and it just taking all of my inspirations and influences and rolling them all up into one. And this is a song that I really felt like some of my classic rock influences had come out in, whether you can hear that in the guitar or the power in my voice or the melody or whatever. So it's a experience that I will definitely cherish. And for my third single, I'm really grateful to have it out in the world and to have such a positive, feedback from it so far.
It's awesome. It's actually an awesome song, I must admit.
Thank you.
It's country music. Country music, you can do anything. You can kill people. You can, you know what I mean? Blow up things, whatever.
Exactly.
So, most of people, it's just, part of the game.
I mean, that's why they call it Murdco, murder country, because there are no limits.
You can hit any subject within country music, make it into a song, and people will just love it. So it's just amazing. And yeah, it is definitely a fantastic song. It's definitely one that I think should be on people's playlists.
Thank you.
So tell me, I read on your profile that you've sung the national anthem over 100 times. Now, that is just an achievement in itself, but do you still get nervous singing it, or are you one of these people that actually sings it as it is? I mean, a number of times I've heard artists change it a bit, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not American, but it doesn't feel, it's not the sort of song you should be changing. So, what's your thought on these?
So I've had the time of my life, honestly, performing this song. It's an incredible performance opportunity that I first received when I was 17. And, I really didn't know where it was going to go. I had taken this first gig, which was randomly for a robotics competition, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's, they build these robots, and it's a huge program, particularly in my former high school. And I think it's bigger in the Northeast really than anywhere else. I haven't seen it in like many other parts of the country. I could be wrong about that, but it's particularly big in the Northeast. And they have these like huge competitions where the National Guard will actually show up too. And
Wow.
they were there when I sang, and it was incredible. And like so many people were at this competition. I mean, I was floored. This is not like a football game or a baseball game, and like no hate to anybody who loves robotics who's listening, but that I didn't expect that for robotics. So got there, had no idea what to expect. I was terrified. I was terrified because it was my first time performing this in front of a crowd, and I'd only practiced it a handful of times in private. And I mean, I think I did really well because afterwards I had multiple people coming up to me and telling me how much they loved my performance. So, you know, it was just from that point I knew that I had to keep doing it because it was this incredible, opportunity for exposure. Like I said before, I mean, as a vocalist, I have to put myself out there and try to get as many performance opportunities as possible. So, why not do that with the national anthem? I mean, my grandparents served in the military, so it's a great opportunity for me to also, bring out my American patriotism. I am an American after all. So yeah, it's been a great experience, and I did about, I want to say about 30 of them my senior year in high school.
Mm.
I had 30 rounded out by the time I graduated, and then I want to say I did maybe between 40 and 45 my first couple years of college. That's, of course, just an estimate, but then, my last 2 years was when I transferred to Belmont. I'm a Belmont University alum here in Nashville. I graduated in 2022 from the songwriting program, and that was an incredible experience in itself. But I performed the anthem a handful of times there, and I have done it for Vanderbilt University here in town as well. And I'm, connected with all of these, really cool people who have given me this opportunity to get up in front of these large crowds and do this. And my most recent one was the Tennessee Titans 5K at Nissan Stadium here in the city. So that was awesome. I will never forget that. I have done, I did Major League Baseball last year, which was my biggest performance yet.
Wow.
For the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland, Ohio, at Progressive Field, and that was amazing. But yeah, I'm seeking out as many as I can because why not? So it's been amazing, and I'm so excited for more.
That is awesome. I mean, what a song as well, though, to show your singing talent. So that is just amazing. It's happy to
Thank
see it.
you.
It's really- so tell us, who are the people that have influenced you? What female artists have really influenced you?
Growing up, I want to say three of the main influences that I had were Carrie Underwood, who just to me is one of the greatest, most legendary country artists of all time. Maddie and Tay, I grew up loving them. I really, just their songwriting is so amazing. And, they were super inspiring to me as I was a beginning writer in high school, especially. And let's see, Miranda Lambert,
Mm.
she's a huge one because she just has so much grit in her sound and her songwriting
Yeah.
that also, you know, influenced me a ton, especially when writing songs like Daddy's Dime, where I'm thinking about, okay, I'm gonna roast. I'm not afraid to push. I'm not afraid to break the boundary of the topics I can talk about and the the songwriting aspects that I can reach.
Yeah.
So I think you know what I mean. But those were three of the main artists as well. And Jason Aldean, I'd say, is a huge one
Yeah.
too. I discovered him in middle school, and again, just very gritty country. And I've taken from so many different avenues, between writing after listening to pop radio, because I, of
Yeah.
course, grew up with that too, as huge as that has always been. And country radio came later. And of course, the rock and roll aspect of it.
Mm.
Like you said, you were also influenced by rock. So
Yeah.
there are so many different corners of rock too, which I find
Yeah.
really awesome that
Definitely.
you can just take from all different kinds. But those have been feeding into each other as I've grown. And I guess so I didn't realize it subconsciously. Every part of those has been making its way into my music
Yeah.
little by little. And it may not, not everything I write necessarily screams country or screams rock or pop, but definitely portions of it
Yeah.
are included. So I'd say those are my main ones. I'm mostly influenced by smaller artists right now. I'm listening to a lot of Hannah Ellis. I'm a huge fan of her. Tennille Townes. I love the new Dan and Shay record. They're very they bring in a lot of pop influence, especially in
Yeah.
their melodies, which is super inspiring. And they're incredible writers as well. But Thomas Rhett, I don't know if I mentioned him before, but yeah, just I'm constantly inspired by new artists that I'm finding every day and taking from those artists that I discovered in the past. So
Yeah.
it's a really cool blend.
Perfect. But I think as an artist, for you to actually express yourself, you need to be able to push yourself and push the boundaries of some of these subjects. Because you look at some of these top artists, if you look at Reba and Dolly and Loretta and some of the songs that they brought out that were banned, but they pushed the envelope. And I think as an artist is what you need to be doing to be seen, because people take
Right,
notice, they sit up and take notice and see what you're doing. So that's
right.
awesome. So keep writing and roasting songs because they're great.
I definitely will. There's just some things that need to be said.
Definitely, they do. They do. And you've done it amazingly with Daily Time. Fantastic.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
no worries. So tell us, what have you got planned for the rest of the year? More national anthems, more songs, shows?
National anthem, those kind of pop up sporadically. So I'm in the booking process right now. So I'm not yet sure of what those are going to look like, but I am playing a weekly slash bi-weekly set, a 2-hour acoustic set at the Cambria Hotel, downtown Nashville on 8th Avenue. And that has been really awesome because I'm playing mostly covers, but I also get to do originals. And again, another opportunity to put my music and to put my what I do out there, my artistry. So that's been a really cool experience. So I've been doing that, yeah, like I said, weekly, bi-weekly. So if people want to come out and support, which I would genuinely love and appreciate, my dates can be found on my page on Instagram, on my website. And yeah, I've been also in the booking process for more acoustic gigs as well, which will pop up later. I'm doing a lot of writers rounds right now as well. And that I'd say is what is in the performance realm. And then I am holding off on releasing my next single. I don't know when that's going to be just yet. I am in the picking or the choosing process rather of my next one because it's a very important decision, of course, and
Mm.
I'm in the writing process and I've got a lot of ideas and a lot of creating that I've been doing, and I'm trying to figure out which is going to be the perfect one to do next.
Mm.
So that is forthcoming. But other than that, I mean, I'm marketing Daddy's Dime. I'm going to shows. I'm living.
Good. Good. You need to live. You've got to be out there. You've got to be out there showing work. That's
Exactly.
awesome. One other question for you. Do you prefer to write alone or with people?
I love writing with people.
Mm.
It's, co-writes are, they've, I guess my co-writing experience here has been interesting because I have a couple people right now that I write really well with, but then of course it's a journey finding who you write the best with.
Mm.
And I find that right now, overall, I write the best on my own, but I'm of course always willing to meet new people and I always love experimenting and collaborating with new folks. It's definitely a process though, finding those people and whether you
Mm.
find them you have to find them at the right time, if you know what I mean. So it's I'm definitely writing by myself for the most part right now, but definitely a co-write here or there.
That's cool. I suppose you've got to have that chemistry, and you've got to be able to have that someone who knows you well and you know them well, and it just sort of clicks. I guess it's
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. I suppose it's the same with the producer and the whole team, isn't it? You need to have that balance, someone who understands you and what you're trying to produce. So yeah.
Right. It's hard for sure. The search is hard, but it happens when it's supposed to happen. And it's also the exciting thing about being here and creating and being a writer is you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's around the corner, which is always a good thing sometimes. You never know. The next big thing could be right around the corner.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been fun. It has been so much fun talking to you. So yeah, everybody, make sure you check this out once it's live on YouTube. We'll have all your details down below. And yeah, make sure you check out Daddy's Darling because it's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Thank you for having me. I loved this. This was great.
That's good. See you later, folks.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.